Hello and welcome back to another video on Wrestlers Way and to another edition of Raw out of 10. And of course, it's the Raw after Wrestlemania, one of the biggest Raws of the year, and the landscape of WWE looks very different following the events of the weekend. Several titles changed hand, including both world titles, and we also saw Seth Rollins becoming a Paul Heyman guy. But Raw opened with a video package recapping everything that happened at the shows before Cena came to the ring with a title on backwards. Cena gave the ring announcer a note with new instruction for him that was more to his liking. He said the crowd is not worthy because they booed him on Friday, so he's not just going to forgive them for cheering when he has gold. The crowd actually chanted "We're sorry," and Cena called the sorry lowlifes. He said the crowd means nothing to him, so it changed a-hole at him. As Cena was preparing to finish up his speech, Randy Orton appeared behind and hit an RKO out of nowhere, much to the crowd's delight. A solid promo, and it was exactly what Cena needs to do after winning the title. He solidified his position as a heel, and Orton's the logical next challenger, given the location and their rivalry in Cena's last year. So yeah, it makes sense, I'm looking forward to it. But moving on into the first match, and Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez had the chance to win back the gold they lost when they faced Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch in a rematch, and Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley were sat in the crowd with the winner facing them on NXT. Becky and Liv began the action for their teams, but it didn't take long for Lyra to tag in and take over. They had the upper hand as the show cut to a break. We returned to see Rodriguez dominating Valkyria, but the women's IC champ began to rally. She made a hot tag to the man as they began to build momentum. The intensity picked up in the second half, and they did a good job making this match feel completely different from a match at Mania. Morgan ended up hitting a finisher on Lyra after Becky was out at ringside. Liv got the pin to regain the title as the man looked on shocked. A one-day reign is never ideal, but Lynch attacked Lyra afterwards and blamed her, so it looks like Becky will be chasing the IC title. So I think on the whole it makes sense. Becky is a heel, sets up a really intriguing first feud, and Jet hot potatoes in the title. It's a shame, but it makes sense. 6 out of 10. But Kofi Kingston and JB Woods then came out to celebrate winning their tag titles at Mania. Then Otis, Tozawa and Dupree came out to interrupt after the units. They were about to have a match for the tag titles and some back and forth talk, but when Rusev then made a surprising return, New Day bailed when Tozawa and Otis were left to take a beating as the crowd chanted Rusev Day. It's a weird way to bring Rusev back, but I loved teasing the tag bout, and he looks like a beast, so yeah, definitely accomplished its goal. Moving on into Io Sky against Stephanie Vaquer. After Sky came out and celebrated her win, she said it was the best night of her career so far because she proved she's the best. Vaquer made a surprising appearance and Sky had a big smile on her face. Vaquer says she respects Sky, but she wants to face the best, and that means she wants to face Io. Adam Pearce came out and made it official. They started with some simple takedowns and counters as they gained control, but neither woman seemed to be in a rush to incorporate strikes until Sky hit a drop kick to send the NXT champ out the ring for a suicide dive. The second half was much more physical and saw both women pull off some big moves. The crowd was into everything and gave both superstars a lot of love. This was a great match and showed how two talented wrestlers who work together can put on a great performance. Sadly, Roxanne Perez caused the disqualification to end the match abruptly. Julia showed up and attacked Vaquer, and Perez took out Sky. Rhea Ripley then ran to the ring and took out Perez before having a standoff with Julia, which ended with the NXT star backing down. Really love the mix of NXT and main roster talent here, and I think lots of intriguing directions this could go in the coming weeks. So yeah, I thought this was really strong. 7 out of 10. Next up on Raw, it was the world champion who came to the ring to a rapturous applause, and WWE had a video package hyping his win. Uso had the truck play his music again when he came to the ring so he could jeet some more. After Jay spoke for a while, Sami Zayn joined him in the ring and gave him a hug. Zayn said Uso deserves to be the champion and everything he's done agreed. Jimmy came out to join the celebration in the end. It was almost surprising this ended without incident, but I think that's the best way to do it. The moment deserves to stand on its own. Before we return from a break to see Gunther yelling at Michael Cole, he shoved Pat McAfee and then grabbed Cole in a choke. McAfee fired off a shot to break it up before a bunch of officials came down and Gunther grabbed McAfee, choked him out. The ring general was escorted away. McAfee was taken to the bank and Cole came back to the announce table with Joe Testol. But yeah, brutal stuff. I don't know where this goes. Gunther suspended, maybe writes him off TV for a bit, we'll have to see. But Dom Mysterio was then defending his newly one IC title against Penta, and Balor and Carlito accompanied Dirty Dom to the ring. We went to a break and with Penta being sent out of the ring, it looked like Balor might attack him until the ref spotted him and he had to back off. Penta hit Hurricane Rana to Balor that sent him into Dom at ringside, but as Penta was about to hit a big boot, JD appeared and then knocked him off the top rope. This allowed Dom to hit a frog splash to get the win. All things considered, it was about as down as they get. Nothing looked bad, but the ending was the only notable thing that happened. Bit of a shame for such a high profile match that could have done with more build. 5 out of 10. The final segment then featured Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman coming to the ring to discuss what happened at Wrestlemania. Before Rollins could say much, Punk's music hit and he came looking for a pint. Punk beat down Rollins in the corner and then turned his attention to Heyman. The Visionary took him down and Heyman said Rollins is now the top star in the entire industry. Reigns' music hit and he came out just looking as angry as Punk was. The OTC nailed Rollins with a spear and then knocked Heyman down with a Superman punch. He lined up for a spear, but he ended up getting speared by Braun out of nowhere. Breakker hit Punk with one, and he tried to get into the ring too. Rollins then hugged Braun to reveal what appears to be a new partnership. The former IC champion ran around the ring and hit Reigns with another spear to put him through the barricade. The Raw after Mania ended with Rollins and Breakker standing tall over Punk and Reigns. Yeah, Braun as a Paul Heyman guy, I think that's a really exciting development. Can't wait to see where that goes. But yeah, huge news for Braun, and I think, yeah, adding more spice to that already interesting partnership. I'm very intrigued to see where this goes in the coming weeks. On the whole, Raw this week gets 7 out of 10 from me. A really action-packed Raw after Mania with lots of intriguing stuff on there, and I think on the whole I was pretty much a fan of most of it. So yeah, this was really, really good stuff. Gets 7 out of 10 from me. I think WWE's laying out a very intriguing roadmap. Now we're into the post-Mania kind of period. So yeah, this is great stuff.
Hey guys,
7 out of 10.
that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Follow us on our socials, link in the description below for daily wrestling news, meme and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now. That'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.